Have you ever been in a situation where you're talking, the conversation is going well, and suddenly you just completely forget what to say? This happens to all of us. It definitely happens to me. And it's really easy to deal with in our native language. We've got some phrases that we've just memorized, we can use, different ways to redirect the conversation. But in a second language or a foreign language, it's really hard, right? And it's very easy sometimes to become paralysed in these situations and make it into quite a big deal. My name is Benin and I'm an online English teacher. What I'd like to do today is to teach you some phrases and techniques that you can use in these situations where you've just totally forgotten what you were going to say in English. We're going to look at two types of techniques we can use in this situation. The first one is questions that we can ask ourselves or ask the people we're talking to out loud. And the second one is exclamations. So kind of phrases, set phrases that we can just say and yes, help us in these situations. So let's start off with the questions that we can ask out loud to ourselves in these situations. The first one is, what was I saying? What was I saying? And it's like asking to ourselves and the other person, what was I saying? I don't know the answer to this question. The second one is, what was I going to say? So it's pretty similar to the first one, but we say going to. What was I going to say? What was I going to say? Okay. And the last one is, where was I? Where was I? Which is the feeling of like, where was I in the conversation? I've forgotten where the conversation was, what I was saying, this type of thing. So these are the questions that we can memorize to just fill time in these situations and make it into not such a big deal. Let's have a look now at the exclamations. So these are some quite set phrases we can say out loud when we forget what we're going to say. The first one, quite self-explanatory, is, I've totally forgotten what I was going to say. I've totally forgotten what I was going to say. So just super honest, right, in this situation. You can use different adverbs here, for example, like I've completely forgotten what I was going to say, also works. The second exclamation, and one that is super common but a little bit idiomatic, is, I've completely lost my train of thought. I've completely lost my train of thought. And again, here we could use totally as well. I've totally lost my train of thought. Okay, so don't ask me why in English thought is like a train, but it is this idea of the thought is like going along, it's this journey, and suddenly we've lost our train. It's gone. We don't know where it is. We don't know where we were going. So hopefully by using some of these strategies, you'll buy yourself a little bit of time for that thing you were going to say to come back to your mind. If it doesn't, don't worry about it. You can move the conversation on by just saying, anyway, it doesn't matter. Anyway, it doesn't matter. Or for example, oh, I'm sure it will come to me. I'm sure it will come to me, which means like, I'm sure it will come back to my mind type thing. So those are our questions and exclamations for today. We can say things like, what was I going to say? What was I saying? Where was I? Or exclamations like, I've totally forgotten what I was going to say. I've completely lost my train of thought. I hope that these were helpful for you, and most of all, I hope that you can put them into practice in those awkward moments in your English speaking. Let me know if you have any questions, and if you'd like to practice these expressions with me in class, just visit the links in the description below. See you soon.